Hello, Coast Union. My name is Elizabeth Kennedy, and I'm very happy to be your Valedictorian for the class of 2020. I'm just gonna take this. This is such an exciting day for all of us, and I honestly can't believe it's already here. I still think back to when we were 8th graders, with Noah wearing an elephant hat and dance battling a random kid during the baseball game, or the time Braden slid across the table and completely shattered it at our San Francisco field trip. I remember David throwing basketballs at seagulls at lunch to get them away from our food, and then one day accidentally hitting one. We all just got so close at the end of our 8th grade year. I remember graduating 8th grade and dreaming of high school graduation, which felt so far away. But now we're here. I know it's not exactly how we imagined it to be, but let's be honest, we never really had a typical high school experience. Not many kids get to go to the beach for their lunch break, or have chickens roam into their classrooms, or get a farewell poem from their Spanish teacher after he decides to not show up one day and travel the world. That was weird. Although we are in uncertain and scary times right now, we've already overcome so much. We survived the end of the world in 2012, the time when creepy clowns were everywhere in 2016, and now we just have to get through a global pandemic. In all honesty, I'm incredibly proud of our class. We are one of the most hardworking, athletic, and intelligent classes Coast Union has ever seen. This year, our seniors were accepted into over 70 universities. Our sports teams won league titles and went on to CIF. We brought back spirit to our school and made this year great. We also received so many scholarships, many from our local community. It's heartbreaking that some of us never got to experience our last seasons of a sport we love, or the chance to connect with our class before we all go off and start the next chapter in our lives. But even though we didn't get our senior prom, grad night, or a traditional graduation, I feel like we're a very tight-knit class who already has so many amazing and hilarious memories together, and I'm so thankful for that. But of course, none of this would have been possible without the help of our generous community, and I want to thank them for their generosity. Because of their donations, we're all one step closer to achieving our dreams. They've definitely taught us the importance of helping others. I would also like to thank our amazing teachers and the faculty at our school. All of our teachers were always so willing to go out of their way and to make sure that their students got the best education possible. I especially want to thank Mr. Crosby, who let me come in every morning to get extra help and somehow made calculus class fun. I'd also like to thank Ms. Stenbeck, who was so encouraging and always taught us not to settle, but to reach for the stars. I'm extremely grateful to have had the best coaches I could ever ask for, Pam Kenyon and Keith Stowers, who made me not only strive to be a better volleyball and basketball player, but most importantly, a better person. Most of all, I'd like to thank my family, all of my aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, and siblings. I could not ask for a more loving, supportive group of people who have taught me to just enjoy life and love more. And of course, my mom and dad, who are so incredibly loving and mean absolutely everything to me. Maya Angelou once said, "People will never forget how you made them feel," and I've never felt that more than today. I will never forget how welcoming everyone was when I first moved here, and how happy I am when I'm around all of you guys. All of you have made my time here unforgettable. I know we're all gonna go on to do great things. It can only go up from here. Congratulations, class of 2020.
You guys all look great, by the way. Thank you all for coming out here and supporting us on such an important day. So as you know, this has been a very unique situation for us seniors this year. Initially, when I heard that we were going to be out of school for the rest of the year, I thought about how horrible it would be that we would miss all the things we've looked forward to our whole life. Grad night would be canceled altogether, our senior prom would be canceled, and my final baseball season was done for. These things were devastating to hear. I've thought about how awesome it would be to go to a theme park with my whole class ever since elementary school. These feelings quickly passed though, and I soon realized that one of the things I missed the most about the last part of the school year was simply making a bracket in Mr. Johnson's March Madness competition. As I think back on everything I loved doing at Coast Union, I find that I miss the small things much more than anything. Playing Gran Turismo 2 in Mr. Spradley's stats class, watching Selena over and over again in Spanish class, trying to convince Miss Parker to let us play Mafia again, bringing Braden dressed as Alondra to the homecoming rally, and playing cat baseball when Miss Drummond was gone were some of my best memories. I already missed the baseball van rides and overnight stays at hotels far more than the games themselves. These small things are the pieces that glued my whole high school experience together and were the true things we were missing out on. Even with all these pleasant memories, there have of course been so many boring days when I was looking forward to this day when I'm done with it all. When Mr. Holt starts talking about how problematic everything is, and Miss Johnson's playing the devil's advocate again, you know it's going to be a long day. We've all had times where we just want to skip straight to graduation, but I wish I hadn't, because I didn't know how much of it I'd want back right now. I wish I would have embraced these small things about Coast Union that I believe have made it the best possible place for me to grow as a person in high school. At Coast Union, I've learned math, science, and English just like I would have at every other high school in the United States. But the difference is I've learned so many random things that may be even more important than standard education. For example, I've learned an excess of dad jokes from Mr. Johnson. Mr. Schulk has taught me that only certain people can pull off vests. Mr. Spradley showed me that go-karts do need brakes by crashing one. And Coach Machado even taught me how to handle the news media when I interviewed him for ASB. These are all things that I would have gotten nowhere else besides Coast Union, and I appreciate it for that. I want to thank everyone in my class, my friends, my coaches, and the staff at Coast Union for helping me positively grow the past 4 years and for helping me have fun along the way. I want to thank my parents, my sisters, and the rest of my family for continuing to support me in whatever I love to do. To finish this speech off, I want to let everyone know who put this graduation together that we are so grateful not to have graduated online. And we appreciate all the hard work you had to do to make this happen. Thank you, guys.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start by thanking you all for being here to celebrate the commencement of the Coast Union High School class of 2020, whether that be here in person or on the live stream. Although this is not the way we all expected graduation to look, I can confidently say that we are glad to be back together for one last time. I have no doubt in my mind that this will be a year to remember for each and every one of us. We may not have been able to fulfill the memories that typically come with being a senior, but I'd like to shed some light on the memories that we have had this past 12 years. Starting with our first year as otters. In kindergarten, there was many firsts for all of us. The first days we had away from our parents and our together as a class, where we searched the whole school for the gingerbread that were hiding in the principal's office. In first grade, we all sat together on the floor. Leader promise, which some of us still might remember to this day. As second graders, many of us would arrive at school early to take part in Mr. Toscano's breakfast club, where we shared many laughs, toaster waffles, and bagels each and every morning. When we finally had classes on the upper level of school in third grade, we also went on some of our first field trips. They were the most glorious, and we sure were the big kids now. We got to see great big hills and smell some things that weren't so great at the landfill. The field trips didn't stop there, though. As fourth graders, we had our first overnight trip to Rancho Alchero, where we ate deer scat, roasted marshmallows, and sung campfire songs together. The next year, we bonded as a class as we all got car sick on the way to Yosemite. During the 5 days that we were there, we saw bears, carried our lunch in our backpacks, and we went on hikes that were much longer than we had expected. As we went through those awkward stages of our lives, we transitioned from otters to warriors. But don't ask any of us how we could answer that question. As sixth graders, we were divided into various color teams where we came together to fight for the bragging rights of winning events like Field Day and Battle of the Books. Our competitive nature continued to flourish as we went on the Warrior Challenge field trip in 7th grade. As we raced down the giant dune trying to be the first to get the candy bar at the bottom, we pushed and shoved each other, which resulted in mouthfuls of sand and a few scorpions, all while having smiles on our faces. In 8th grade, we had our biggest field trip yet to San Francisco. We went to a trampoline warehouse where luckily the only thing broken was a table. While on Pier 39, we got massages and ate Bubba Gumps. We saw exotic animals at the zoo and even watched a live baseball game where we started a dance battle. We then took a tour of the prison on Alcatraz Island before heading to what seemed pretty similar, high school. As we made our final transition from Warriors to Broncos, we each went our separate ways. Without field trips and events to bring our class together, we may not have as many memories from the past 4 years, but I hope that we are all able to cherish the memories that we do have for years to come. I am so grateful to have been from the very beginning with very many of you. I will now leave you with a quote from my favorite teacher. Bada bing, bada boom. We did it, class of 2020. Okay, and we as a class of 2020 would also like to make a donation to the Coast Union High School of a new set of chairs to be used in the gym for indoor sports and other events. These chairs will have our school printed on them, and they will look like this.